Well, good morning and welcome to Mornings with GWBC. I'm Roz Lewis, President and CEO of the Greater Women's Business Council. And we're so happy to have you join us this morning for, believe it or not, this is our season 2 of Mornings with GWBC. So we hope you have your favorite cup of coffee, your tea, or your smoothie. And we want you to sit back and relax for the next 30 minutes as we bring you great information from our special guests, our top 10 countdown for your business, and of course, that wonderful raffle where we give away a Macy's gift card at the end of the show. And so please follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, because we love to hear from you and know how are you doing. There's a lot going on right now. We know with people getting back to school and everything. However, still, what are our businesses doing? How are you making it happen every day? Because you all are awesome. And so we want to thank the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport for being our premier sponsor today. And now, without further delay, let's introduce our special guest speaker, who I'm going to interview, and she is Valerie Nesbitt, who is the Airport Director, Business Diversity at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. She is responsible for ensuring that contracts issued by the airport maximize opportunities for small, minority, and female-owned businesses to participate. And spanning more than 30 years, her extensive procurement includes leadership assignments with companies such as the Coca-Cola Company, Delta Airlines, Scientific Atlanta, Martin Marietta, and General Electric, GE. And she has a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from the University of South Carolina and a master's in public administration from Golden Gate University. And she holds certifications as a certified purchasing manager, which is a CPM, her certified professional in supplier diversity, CPSD, and her certified contract compliance administrator, CCA, a lot of acronyms, but she comes from an acronym background as well. And she's an active participant in the community. Valerie serves on the board of directors for the Georgia Minority Supply Development Council, the Cobb Chamber of Commerce, Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and the Atlanta Area Council Boy Scouts of America Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And she's a native of Aiken, South Carolina. And Valerie and her husband, Donis, reside in Smyrna, Georgia. So welcome, Valerie. It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Roz. It's good to see you as well.
Exactly. And Valerie and I have a lot of history. And part of that history is the fact that we both worked at Delta at the same time. As a matter of fact, I still look to her as my mentor. She grew me up in supplier diversity and was a huge, huge supporter of this organization. So just so you all know, she walks the talk of what she delivers. And I think you're in for a good treat to understand some exciting information that's coming from the airport. So let's get right to the questions. Of course, you know, from a thought leadership standpoint, and understanding all that we've gone through, and especially in the hospitality industry, especially with the airline industry, of what has happened over the past now 18 months of COVID, of what we're dealing with right now. How is your team doing? What, you know, how are you all managing? And look like we're about to go into part 2, but hopefully not. So how are things going?
Well, Roz, thank you for that question. I think things are going great for us right now. I don't think any of us knew, like I said, 18 months ago, it was such a pivotal year for all of us. But I see us as rebounding, quite frankly. 18 months ago, if you walked into the airport here, in fact, just visualize driving up to the airport, and you would have seen like empty parking lots. The parking garages were empty. Of our 385 restaurants and shops, the majority of them were closed.
Mm.
And Braz, I know you appreciate this. Someone showed me a picture a few weeks ago of aircraft sitting on the runway, just sitting there, lined up. And so we were like a ghost town here, just like much in other businesses around this country. But the interesting thing, though, about the airport is that we never closed. We maintain a 24-hour operation with our essential employees. And so I think all of how we are today at this moment today is because of the foundation that was built and the things that were done during this whole 18-month period. We focused on things like, just like most companies, we focused on the health, the safety, and the communications was key, for us to be where we are today.
Wow. I tell you, I always say, we are like a phoenix that need to be rising out of the ashes, right? Of any challenges or disasters that took place. And that statement is so true in today's environment, whether you are a large corporation or a large entity such as the airport, or as our women businesses, these are things that we have to look at, especially what is the next normal? I don't say new normal anymore, because now is next, and what are you adjusting to in order to be relevant? So tell me a little bit about your supply chain. What advice would you give our women businesses, and how strong is the Atlanta airport supply chain today?
Okay, so before I answer your question, I just want to pivot back to the first question, because I think this is relevant to all of us, and I think it will resonate with everyone. And I call these my 3 Ps, because, when COVID started, the pandemic started, we all had to push the pause button, and that's my first.
Yep.
And then the second P, what we all are familiar with, everybody had to pivot. We had to change everything about what we do from a personal as well as business relationships. And then we had to proceed. But we caution, to your point, Roz, about the new normal, the next normal, because what's going to happen in the coming months. But I think as we have gone through this pause and this pivot, and then now this cautiously proceed, I can see us kind of moving forward. And that kind of dovetails into your question you just asked about the supply chain. I wish I could say that it's strong, but what I would say is, as I referred to the airport earlier, I think it's on the rebound. I think we're headed in the right direction. And when I look at just the airport from our perspective, as I mentioned before, months and months ago, the parking garages were empty. Well, last week, I got a notice that the north parking lot was full. So we're seeing changes there as it relates to our traffic and our customers. But then you want to order some furniture. When you think about the true supply chain, try to order some furniture.
Right.
Next year when you get it. So I think there are elements of it that might be strong, but then there are elements of it that might be a little on the weaker side.
Gosh. Well, what about any data points that you can share, or any news that you can share that is going on? Before we started, we kind of talked about a couple of opportunities, and I know our WBEs will be interested in hearing about those.
Sure. So we do have, so let me just back up before I answer that question, because one of the things that we're doing, and I think I'm just so grateful to have Stephanie Jones as a part of our team, with her marketing and communications background, where what Stephanie has created for us is what we call our Airport Opportunities Flyer. And
okay.
that is something that you'll see. In fact, we're going to be sending it to your organization, Roz, so that you can share it with the WBEs. But it's basically upcoming opportunities that are happening here at the airport. I've got two to share with you today. And that is, one is called, and this is more construction related, it is the Motor Transport Maintenance Facility Project. It is actively on the City of Atlanta's website today. The other one is a janitorial services project, and that is on the city's website as well. Now, let me give you a little bit more about those two projects. They are what we consider small business sheltered market. And what that means for the city is that when we send it out to bid, we only want to have bids from, or we only accept bids from small businesses.
Wow.
That is our way of ensuring that these smaller projects, because I mean, it happens all the time, guys. The larger companies come in, they swallow up these smaller projects, and then the smaller guys get cut out. And so this is our way of identifying smaller projects that are suitable for small businesses, where there's a wealth of small businesses out there in the community that can bid on it. And that's what we did in those projects. The janitorial one, I'll tell you, it is off what we call CIDA. So you don't have to have a security badge to get to the work. It is some of our outer buildings, so it's very, very easy access. And then the motor transport one, I'm not sure whether or not that one will require security or not. I believe it. I don't believe it does either, but both of them are on the city's website, the City of Atlanta. And that website is atlantagA.gov.
So let me ask you this question. Do you have to be a vendor registered with the City of Atlanta in order to participate in this bid? Or, can your office reside in Smyrna or Stone Mountain or, further out, as long as it's within the 13 counties of Metro Atlanta?
You just answered it. As long as it's within those 13 counties. Now, this is the thing, though. You do want to register with the city. And that information is as well on the city's website, atlantagA.gov. You can also go to our next.atl.com to get access to that site as well. But the first thing you want to do is register with us. Now, we also have a certification requirement as well for the city. It is free of charge. All it costs you is time to fill out the paperwork. But you definitely want to do that as well. In terms of small business, we go by the definition of the Small Business Administration. So whatever that criteria is, that's how we define a small business. And as it relates to these two particular projects I just shared, but I strongly suggest register, get a vendor ID, get in our system. Most importantly, go out to the website and see what projects are coming up. The other thing I would share is that the state of Georgia also has a site as well. And most of you, I'm sure, are already registered there. And what happens is when we have project opportunities, and I believe the dollar amount, I think is 10,000, don't quote me on that, but there is a threshold that when we post it on our website, on the city's website, we also send it over to the states. And the good thing about the state's website is that you can sign up to get alerts based upon your particular products or services. So you can kind of get it both ways. If you're on the state, you can receive information about city projects through the state, but then keep in mind as well, Stephanie Jones and our team will be sending out our flyer too to alert you of upcoming projects. But I would just caveat that, don't rely solely on the flyer. Make sure you go out and visit the website on a regular basis.
Well, thank you for that information. And just so you know, for those of you all who are sharing this morning with us for this valuable information, we post those flyers in our Wednesday e-blast. So remember, make sure you stay tuned and check out our Wednesday e-blast when we post these type of opportunities for you. So I mentioned earlier, about COVID. I call her Miss Corona. It apparently, she, is wearing out her visit, but we're trying to figure out how to go ahead and let her know that her hotel reservation is canceled right? We want to get as many. But what is it that is going on at Hartsfield that is ensuring, one, for those of our WBEs who probably will be traveling for business, and more importantly, what else are they doing to secure the supply chain as it relates to COVID?
Sure. So I'll share something I think that we can all relate to, especially as you've traveled through the airport, and that is as it relates to our concessionaires. You know, as I mentioned earlier, everything was pretty much shut down. But with our concessionaires, they still had agreements with us to produce revenue for the, you know, and so that was not coming in. And so what we did for them at that time was we suspended parking fees, marketing fees, and just, you know, just anything we could do to kind of ease their pain. Now we're continuing to work with them. One of the things that we're faced with right now is a worker shortage. I mean, just like other restaurants, I mean, there's a shortage. And so what our department, our public affairs team is doing is working very closely with our concessionaires and all our other service providers. So just think about it. You got the food, retail, beverages, that kind of thing, but you also have services, transportation services, airport services, etc. So the list goes on. And so we started a couple of weeks ago is we started hosting career fairs. And our plan is that over the coming weeks, we will have a series of them to identify talent so that as we continue to rebound, because, you know, as I mentioned, our traffic is not up to where it was. Right. It is climbing. And I mean, and like I said, I mean, parking lots are getting full. And our expectation was, and I believe it was, don't quote me on the date, but I believe it was August 1st, I think, that the requirement for all the concessionaires to be open. So we're trying to get everything back open again, you know, so that we can, you know, return to our normal lives. So recruiting and jobs and recruiting workers for our concessionaires is the #1 top priority for us right now.
Wow. Well, you know, you just made me think of something, you know, because, you know, if the concessionaires are having challenges with work shortages, which is pretty much prevalent, you know, all over, and for various reasons as to why that is happening, is, you know, for any of our staffing firms and whether or not that is an opportunity there, even through our staffing firms, it, you know, it may be temporary work, but at least, you know, of getting someone trained in customer service, because that's #1. With whether there is a hamburger or a steak, you know, that you're doing or serving or water or magazine. So I think all of that is just another opportunity maybe to even provide the staffing firms with hiring someone until, to your point, we get back up to speed, that our flying public is ready to come back for various reasons. It's not so much safety. I've flown, you know, during this period of time and was very pleased with the safety protocols, you know, that were taken, and it made me feel comfortable because I had a lot of anxiety, but once I got to the airport, I was very comfortable. So I appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to share with us before I ask you about your quote, you know, that maybe would be more valuable for our women businesses?
Sure. Just one last thing to share, and this is as it relates to our capital improvement program. This is construction and construction related services. So what you will see is that in the coming months, we are going to be, actually year, because we have a 10-year plan to increase our spend for construction. So we're reprioritizing our capital improvement program as I speak. We were running about $400 million or so per year in that program. That number is expected to increase significantly. So if you're in the construction or construction related services space, I highly encourage you to reach out to us. You can get on our outreach list, outreach contact list. That is by visiting next.atl.com. Again, that's next. business.atl.com. We have a number of programs and events that we host to identify potential contractors in that space. So I highly encourage you to do that. We're also looking at procurement enterprise-wide now. You know, originally we were just focused more on construction and concessions. Now we're going to be looking at goods and services as well. That's why you see that project for janitorial services, that we're embracing that and coming out with that. So I would just say stay tuned with us, stay connected with us, because we are here committed to ensuring that small, minority, and female-owned businesses have an opportunity to get a seat at the table. That is what that is our desire, and that is what our mission is. And that is
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you. I mean, this is valuable, great information to hear. I love the fact that the capital projects are increasing. Those budgets are increasing, not decreasing, which you hear, you know, occasionally, but now that they're increasing. So I encourage everyone on this call today to please go register with the City of Atlanta. Also register with the state of Georgia, as was mentioned as well, in order so you're prepared. Go ahead and get that out of the way so you're prepared for the upcoming bids. And think about JV and joint venturing, you know, as well, because that's another opportunity, you know, that you would have to be able to capitalize on some of the great opportunities that are taking place. And remember, our news e-blast on every Wednesday. This is where we put these types of information, or we're sending out an email directly to you if it is specific. So keep that in mind as well. So Valerie, what's your favorite quote for our viewing audience?
Sure. So my favorite quote is, and I use this professionally as well as personally, and that is, give a man or woman a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man or woman to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Oh, I love it. I am a student of that. So I appreciate that quote. It is very, very valuable and something we should think about every day. You know, I put the A word on there, accountability, because that's what that does, is allow that person to be accountable and hopefully to also pass it on to be a good steward and teacher as well. So expanding that process. Thank you so much for joining us today. And you mentioned Stephanie. Stephanie is on the call as well. So thank you so much. And Stephanie, we are going to be looking for those opportunities from you. So we're very excited about that. Valerie, I can't tell you how excited I am of having you today on our Mornings with GWBC. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Seems like you all have a lot going on there at the airport. We appreciate everything that you do every day. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome. So ladies, up next, and gentlemen, if you're on the call, is our top 10 countdown of resources that are just for you. So hopefully you still are managing and enjoying that cup of coffee, that tea, or that smoothie. Okay, so let's talk about a top 10 countdown. Number 10, this is the National Business Aviation Association. Valerie mentioned the other two that are really important, but that is more just getting certified with those two entities, but also knowing that you want to be a supplier of the aviation system, it is good to look at other organizations as well. And so we encourage you to look at the National Business Aviation Association. Next is number 9, Amber Grant, and it helps women start businesses and help existing ones grow. So we encourage you to think about that, because access to capital is so important. As we all know, cash is queen. and that we need those funds in order to be able to support those opportunities and those contract opportunities. So I'm going to be mentioning to you several grant opportunities. Number 8 is Eileen Fisher Women-Owned Business Grant. That's another opportunity for you to gain funds without having to pay it back. I'm trying to keep you out of the loan business. And then for recognition is EY, that's Ernst & Young Entrepreneurial Winning Women. Always think about applying for that, because visibility and recognition is also important for your business. That is another opportunity for you to shine and tell people how awesome you are and what you're doing. And then there's Plum Alley Investments. And this is a private membership that offers the opportunity to influence innovation and shape the future by investing in private companies. Then there's an online magazine for corporations and women businesses, which is number 5, and that is We USA. This is a trade magazine in supplier diversity. It's great opportunities. It's a national magazine, so I encourage you to go online and register for We USA. And then number 4, through the SBA, there are business grant opportunities that you really, really need to think about and consider. They are constantly, so don't think they're just the normal opportunities that are there through SBA. They also are trying to be creative in ways of supporting our small businesses. And then number 3 is Grant for Women. This one is also, and it's just only for women, but there are many options that are available to you. Number 2, GWBC Radio, open for business. So let our listening audience hear statements are about you, www.gwbcradio.com. And keep in mind, this is for WeBank certified women businesses only through GWBC. And also keep in mind the number of downloads. These women are experiencing about 9,000 downloads per episode for them coming on, and you're getting great marketing visibility. And we are one of the only regional partner organizations of WeBank that has a radio show for our women businesses of expanding. So please join us. It is FREE in 2021. So keep that in mind, take advantage of it. And then number 1, this is hot off the press. I want you to go ahead and save the date for the upcoming WeBank National Conference, of which Greater Women's Business Council will be hosting next year here in Atlanta, Georgia. So the dates are early for this particular conference. Normally we have the June conference in late June. It is early next year. It is June 6th through the 9th. So please go ahead and mark your calendars for that date, and stay tuned for more information about registration. So we encourage you, you're going to be very excited. It's going to be a different platform, especially considering all of the things that have happened. Remember, I talked about that next normal. You're going to experience that next normal, but it's going to be one that's going to be rewarding. So stay tuned for more information. And that's our top 10. And so we are hoping that you're going to be able to incorporate at least 3 of those 10 resources and see a positive difference in your business. Well, we're almost to the end of our 30-minute show, and we always want to close with our special offer of something special to you. And of course, we have one lucky winner who will win a gift card. And I think Sherelle has sent me that information. So let's see who that person is. Okay, so, The winner is Dr. Georgette Frazier Moore of Transformation Lead LLC. Congratulations to you. So we hope you're going to enjoy that Macy's gift card. You know, treat yourself. You know, too often we tend to forget about ourselves. So make sure you treat yourself with that Macy's gift card and enjoy. Congratulations. Well, we've enjoyed this time with you this morning, and we couldn't have done it without our sponsor, champions who support us here at the Greater Women's Business Council. We're so excited to have them. And of course, this morning with our special sponsor, the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, and our special guest, Valerie Nesbitt. So thank you so much for all of the support that you provide in growing our women businesses. Our next mornings with GWBC will be on August 23rd with our special guest, Accenture, and our special corporation, Accenture, and our special guest speaker will be Cecily Brown, who is the Global Supplier Inclusion and Sustainability Manager. So please register now as you learn what opportunities are going to be available at Accenture. I would put my innovation hat on. As a matter of fact, Accenture has an innovation center right here in Atlanta, and we happen to be lucky and fortunate enough to have one of those innovation centers here. And remember to register for our upcoming Top Corporations celebration on September 28th. That is still going to be virtual style in order to exercise COVID protocols. I know I can't wait to see everybody in person too, but we want to keep you safe and healthy as well. And so register early in order to receive in time one of our gifts that we will be mailing out to you. So we need for you to register, make sure your address is correct in the registration so that you get this gift on time. It will be coming UPS. So that gives you that hint regarding that. And then GWBC, as I mentioned earlier, brings you your weekly information via our weekly e-blast that is distributed on Wednesdays. So keep that in mind, that there's information such as the opportunities we're going to be presenting from the Atlanta airport, that you make sure you save time to read that information about those opportunities. And then again, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, because we would like to know how you're doing, or just for everybody else to be able to talk and communicate with each other, which is, you know, our way of connecting in this virtual world. Well, until next time, we want to encourage you to have a wonderful and successful week. More importantly, we want you to stay healthy, stay safe, and be strong, women, be strong. Have a fantastic week. Goodbye.